All right, so this is a pretty wild story. Antifa took it to the streets over the weekend to riot because one of their comrades was shot and killed by police officers after shooting at police officers. We're going to dig into that story in just 1 second. You guys, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, go join my locals community right now. It's for free with the option of contributing as little as 1 cup of coffee per month. That's how much it costs. Pretty much nothing. But if you want to go join for free, go join for free. There's going to be exclusive content over there, and we're kind of treating it as a backup for my YouTube channel. If I go anywhere, you'll get updates over at my locals community. Visit jamesklug.locals.com. That's jamesklug.locals.com. Go join today. It takes just a second. Stop watching this video even. Just click down. I'll put a link down below. I'll pin one with the direct link. You can click it. Take a few seconds to join. jamesklug.locals.com. Let's jump into this. So, from the New York Post, person killed at Atlanta Police Training Center site ID'd as Manuel Turan. Investigators on Thursday released the identity of the person who was shot and killed by law enforcement officers who were trying to clear protesters camping at the site of a planned Atlanta area public safety training center that opponents have dubbed Cop City, quote unquote. Manuel Turan was 26 years old, was shot and killed Wednesday morning, according to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. Turan was inside a tent in the woods and did not comply with verbal commands from law enforcement officers trying to clear the area. When Turan shot and injured a state trooper, other law enforcement officers returned fire and killed Turan, the GBI has said. Activists have questioned the police version of events and called for the release of law enforcement body camera footage, because these people taking over in this tent city could never be violent. And we're gonna dig into why I say that in just a moment. This is Turan right here. Obviously, stupid move, man, but it's unfortunate. I feel bad for him, even though I don't feel bad for him. Never mind. Opponents of the training center have been protesting for over a year by building platforms and surrounding trees and camping out at the site. We've seen this before with Chaz and Chop, and there's been autonomous zones, Washington, D.C., Portland's a popular one. There was one for a while outside LA City Hall. We're pretty familiar with how these people operate. They say that the $90 million project, which would be built by the Atlanta Police Foundation, involves cutting down so many trees that it would be environmentally damaging. Unlikely. They also oppose investing so much money. Here's the real reason. here's the real reason. They also oppose investing so much money in what they call, quote unquote, Cop City, which they say will be used to practice urban warfare. So these people, they just despise police departments. These are people that, just in general, these are the people that want to literally abolish the police. There's a lot of people that in that debate would be like, oh, no, we just mean defunding a little bit. We don't mean fully defunding and getting rid of. These types of people do. Okay? So that's just to let us understand the perspective of these people that are the tree protesters. Chris Wright, commissioner of the Georgia Department of Public Safety, told reporters Wednesday that the injured trooper underwent surgery and was in intensive care. He told state lawmakers during a budget hearing Thursday that the trooper remained in intensive care and was scheduled to undergo another surgery Thursday morning. So it's obviously a pretty serious wound that he got. Glad it's looking like he's going to be okay. That's good news. The agency said in a news release that it would not release the name of the trooper involved in the shooting because disclosure would compromise security against criminal or terroristic acts due to retaliation. The GBI said about 25 campsites were located and removed Wednesday, and that mortar-style fireworks, edged weapons, pellet rifles, gas masks, and a blowtorch were recovered. Sounds like a nice, peaceful bunch. So, that's not surprising to me at all that weapons were found, gas masks. These people are prepared to pretty much battle with law enforcement at any time. And it's pretty much the same thing with every single autonomous zone. I've had personal experience with a handful of autonomous zones. One in particular would be Portland. I guess we could talk about Portland and LA a little bit, but with both of those places, you'd have people basically taking over an area that they're not allowed to be, setting up tents, and it's not like it's like Skid Row homeless people that are tweaking. They might be tweaking a little bit, but they're actually surprisingly normal people. They're just very, very, they've taken leftism so far that they've become this sort of anarcho-communist, where within their own community, they have this weird communist community, but they're also somewhat anarchist. It's the most unusual thing. But these people are violent in pretty much every single city that they've tried this. So it's the same people. They're friendly with Antifa and or are Antifa themselves. In Portland, to be more specific, they would have a whole area where they would camp, and then at night they would go to the Marco Hatfield Federal Courthouse in Portland and try to torch it with federal agents inside. After not being arrested, or maybe some of them get arrested, they just get released the next day, go back to the little tent site, and restart the next weekend or the next night. 7 people were arrested and charged with domestic terrorism and criminal trespass with charges pending. They range in age from 20 to 34 years old, and none of them are Georgia residents. So I'll finish off right here, and then we'll move on. GVI Director Mike Register said Wednesday that people are illegally occupying the area and are committing acts that endanger the community, including arson and using explosives. The clearing operation, quote unquote, was conducted in the same area where a handful of people were arrested last month and also charged with domestic terrorism. Authorities said that at the time that firefighters and police officers were attacked with rocks and weapons as they removed barricades blocking entrances to the site. So, yeah, I mean, it just personally in Los Angeles, I would actually go to some of the autonomous zones where they have these little tent cities. And I would cover up so they don't recognize me. And I would talk to some of the people. And they're a little bit more, I mean, a lot of them are quite literally domestic terrorists. But you talk to them and you can actually have a conversation with them. They're very far left political activists. And I've even witnessed them using all sorts of weapons on police officers in multiple cities. So they act kind of peaceful, do their own little community thing during the day, and basically go attack law enforcement officers at night. That's essentially what I've seen in cities all across the nation. So the response to this person shooting at police officers, Antifa across the nation was not happy with that, and they rioted over the weekend. Protesters torch police car, damage businesses in Atlanta after activists killed. There were a few demonstrations and riots across the nation over the weekend in response to this. So there's a member that is shooting at police officers. Police officers return fire, end up killing somebody, and that calls for riots. I don't even know what result police officers can end up with that doesn't result in a riot anymore. Atlanta Police Chief Darren something told reporters that multiple protesters were found with explosive devices on them. One of these devices was used to set an Atlanta police car on fire. Protesters who hit the streets after calls for a, quote, night of rage by Antifa members were also seen throwing bricks at Atlanta Police Department vehicles, smashing property, 11 Alive reported. At least six people were arrested and 3 businesses were damaged, police said. Just before 7 p.m., police said order has been restored to the downtown space. One thing that's kind of funny about a lot of these Antifa members and whatnot, they tend to be fair weather protesters. So you notice that's like actually kind of early, right? They do it just while it's still not like, 20 degrees out or something. Total wussies. Anyways. Guys, the story gets worse. The story gets worse here. I do want to show a little bit of, from Democracy Now!, a left-wing YouTube channel, their side of it. I just want to show this little clip. This was a phone call from one of the people. They're calling them forest defenders. This video is titled "Atlanta Police Kill." I I can't reach that whole thing. But Atlanta police kill forest defender at protest encampment near proposed Cop City training center. That's how they word it. Listen to this call. This is from somebody that was a part of it.
Police continued to hunt, assault, and arrest our brave forest defenders. Those defenders in trees were targeted with pepper bullets. One tree sitter had their tree house, which stored food and water, cut from beneath them. They were left without food and water for over 12 hours up in the tree, as police waited at the base of the tree to capture them.
Yeah, I mean, you could just get out from the tree. It's not like, you know, in these people's minds, they're fighting for what's right, and they are like they believe that they're raging against the machine, when in fact they just have a lot of the same beliefs as the machine itself. But that was a bit of a. I don't want to play the whole thing because I'm sure these people would go after me if I did. But I'll put a link down below if you guys want to check out this whole video. But that's their side of it. Tends to be a little bit dramatized, a little bit of propaganda. I've talked to a handful of these types of people that participate in these autonomous zones, and you know they're in the right about everything. They're going to defend the guy shooting at the cops. So we got a tweet here from Donut Operator. This Atlanta stuff is wild. Antifa dude shoots at cops, wounding one, gets smoked. They launch a riot to protest, quote unquote, police killing him. He goes on to say they raised $39,000 so far for the criminal. So we have right here GoFundMe from Andy No. GoFundMe is hosting a fundraiser to benefit the family of the domestic terrorist gunman who shot a Georgia patrol trooper for literally just doing their job of clearing the area of these quote unquote, they call themselves tree sitters, these violent tree sitters that are like heavily armed and ready to battle with police. Manuel Turan, who used a Smith & Wesson pistol, was shot dead by returning fire. The surviving officer required emergency surgery. Look at this. So you have GoFundMe, and by the way, start using Give, Send, Go for anything. Never, ever, 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 ever use GoFundMe. They're raising money for a criminal that shot at police officers, and it's still up today. The GoFundMe is still up. And they'll take down money being raised for the Freedom Convoy in Canada. They'll take down money for Kyle Rittenhouse. They'll take down anything that they oppose at this point because it's wildly inconsistent. They never enforce their own rules. They do have a rule against fundraising for violent criminals. I think shooting at police officers, you would fall under that category, certainly. Andy No goes on to say, seeing an opportunity for a cash grab. The original $50,000 fundraiser for the deceased gunman at the terrorist occupation in Atlanta has been doubled to $100,000. So surprising. They said, "Oh, this is bringing in a little bit of money. Maybe we can get a little bit more out of this. Out of this this criminal shooting at police officers. That'd be great, and likely they'll get away with it if there's not enough national uproar. Likely GoFundMe will allow them to continue. I say this again, do not use GoFundMe. Give, Send, Go is a lot more friendly across the board, and you might not be able to raise money for criminals, such as this guy, but they're not going to take down your stuff just because they disagree with you politically. Next. You have a tweet retweeted from Mr. David here. David Peisner. And David Peisner is a writer for New York Times, Rolling Stone, New York Magazine, Fast Company, a bunch of other left-wing outlets. Look at this. David Peisner is retweeting. Please donate to the family of blah, blah, blah. They have nicknames for him. Murdered by GSP for defending the forest and fighting to stop Cop City. When people tell you that New York Times or Rolling Stone or New York Mag or these legacy outlets or publications, when they say that, oh no, it's fair and balanced, they're not biased at all. They literally have writers for them that are helping to raise money for a cop shooter, for a violent criminal that shot at cops. This is who these people employ. These are very, very far left activists that don't care that they're raising money for a domestic terrorist. They have no problem with that at all. In fact, proudly retweeting this link to this GoFundMe. That's who New York Times employs. I guess unsurprising at this point. Now, interestingly enough, and I'll wrap it up here, but at another riot over the weekend, we have a tweet from Antifa Watch. It appears that the child of Democrat House Minority Whip Catherine M. Clark was arrested for assaulting police as part of an Antifa event in Boston last night. Jared Dowell allegedly graffitied Stop Cop City and assaulted police while resisting arrest. So if you're wondering what Antifa members look like when they're not wearing the all black, this is pretty typical. Also not that surprising. I did want to double check this, and it looks like Fox News has confirmed it as well. House Democratic leader's daughter arrested for allegedly assaulting police officer, spray painting monument. House Democratic Whip Catherine Clark's daughter was arrested on Saturday evening for allegedly spray painting a monument and assaulting a police officer during a protest. Looks like you got a good one there. Brutal. You guys, let me know what your thoughts about this whole situation are down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe for more videos, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.